of Parley P. Pratt's Key to Theology. The official title is Key to the Science of Theology. Uh, Pick it up. And I'm going to give this 4 stars. I actually enjoy this a little bit more than A Voice of Warning, but this was published in 1855 for the very first time, 2 years previous to Parley P. Pratt's assassination and death. And it is a comprehensive book on the way we think about our theology within Mormonism. It adds significant insight into the gospel in a context and in a relatable way that only Parley can do. Okay, so I actually believe that every member of the church should probably have a go at this book and read it and appreciate it. They will gain a love of Parley P. Pratt that they're not going to get otherwise. They've heard the stories. They know he was an apostle. Many people have probably read his biography, which is another great book that I'm sure we'll do a review on shortly. But I would highly recommend that everyone get a copy of the Keys to the Science of Theology and give it a read. Just a great, great book. Okay. Not only was it great, it actually significantly influenced the church. After its publication, it was continued to be published for decades after his death, became a key to LDS literature. Okay, it became one of the first major LDS publications that continued to get widespread reach, and when you read it, you'll understand why. Okay, it was so significant that in the capstone of in the big bubble up where the Moroni is on the Salt Lake Temple, they put a time capsule, and in that time capsule, they put a couple of newspapers. They put a first edition copy of the Book of Mormon, and they put a copy of the Keys to the Science of Theology by Parley P. Pratt. It was that influential even 30 years after its publication. In here, you're going to get some real gems about how to commune with the Holy Spirit, how the Holy Spirit works. Okay, you're going to get an idea of power, governments, degrees, first estate, second estates. It's just a really good, comprehensive way to learn the gospel as well and get insight. It's got one of my favorite quotes in it. It relates to the ministering of angels. He says, angels, he always makes a reference to having documentation and pen and paper by your bed before you go to sleep. The reason being that the time before you're awake and you're asleep, that space where you start to kind of drift off, it's the time when you're most susceptible to the ministering of angels as a result of being humble, meek, submissive, full of love, willing to submit. As you start to submit to sleep, you find openings where you can commune and receive revelation and insight, and the need to actually document that insight so you remember it's more meaningful. I absolutely love this book. I read it before I went on my mission, and it helps significantly. Again, in the previous video, I made reference that if you're a missionary, when I was a missionary, before I went on my mission, I loved to read, and I asked a neighbor of mine, Hiram Andrus, who's recently passed, he was an author as well, what books I should read before I go on my mission. And he said anything by the Pratt brothers, starting with A Voice of Warning, Keys to the Science of Theology, and then anything by Orson Pratt. You're going to gain a fond love for Parley and understand why he had such influence on the early saints as well. With that, I'll leave you with it, and I'm going to give it 4 stars at ldsbookreviews.com.